We are now going to start baking our sponge cake. First thing we want to do is we want to set our oven to 350 degrees. Now we're going to mix our dry ingredients. So you're going to need all-purpose flour, salt, and baking powder. All right. For the all-purpose flour, we're going to have 1 cup of all-purpose flour, 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt, and half a teaspoon of baking powder. You're going to take a bowl. We're going to mix our dry ingredients together. We are now going to mix our wet ingredients. We need 6 room temperature eggs and 1 cup of granulated sugar. We're going to crack the eggs and we're going to whip them in our bowl for 1 minute. When I'm cracking my eggs, I like to use different bowls to do the crack, just because I don't want any eggshell to fall into my mixture. With baking, precision is everything. So I have my phone here, I'm putting a timer so that I make sure that I actually whisk for 1 minute. I have a handheld mixer. A freestand one is much better, but I don't bake very often to buy one of those. But I'm going to turn this into high and whisk my egg. So here we have our whisked egg mixture. Now we're going to gradually add our 1 cup of sugar to our mixture, and we're going to mix for 8 to 10 minutes. Okay, so again, use our timer so we can put that for 8 to 10 minutes so we can get it nice and fluffy. So my 10 minutes are up. As you can see, the consistency is thick and fluffy. That's what we're looking for in our when we mixed our eggs and our sugar. Okay. We are now going to incorporate our dry ingredients into our wet base here. We're going to do them in thirds. You're going to fold it in to the wet base, but you don't want to overmix. You just want to see the flour dissipate from the mix. If you overmix, then all the air that we put into the egg and sugar is going to leave, and then our cake is no longer going to be fluffy. So it is imperative, very, very, very important, that we do not overmix. See how it's still very fluffy. I'm just running it through just to get my flour out of the way. I'm just folding it in there. You don't want to mix fast. Just fold it in there. Last bit of flour. And once we're done folding our flour mixture with our wet base, you want to put them into our tins right away. So we're going to grease them very fast, or put our parchment paper very fast, because otherwise, if we let it sit again, we lose air from our batter here. And we did all that work for nothing then. As you can see, no flour lines. I made sure that I hit the bottom as well. There's no flour underneath. And now we're ready to put them into our tins. So now we are going to grease our tins. I'm going to use butter. You can also use parchment paper, cut it out, and place it there. It actually makes it easier, but I don't have any on hand. You want to do this rather quickly because we don't want to let our batter sit out for too long. Otherwise, the air that we put in it can leave, and then we did all that work again for nothing. We want to make sure that we divide our batter equally amongst the 3 tins. That way we have a consistent looking cake. Again, we want to get it into the oven as quickly as possible. And we don't want to go more than halfway up the tin so that it doesn't rise over it. So we're going to put our cake in the oven. Our oven's at 350 degrees, as you can see. And it is very, very important that you put the cakes on the same level. Otherwise, they'll bake uneven. So I'm going to put all 3 of my tins in the same layer. Our oven has already been set to 350 degrees. We are going to put a timer on for 20 minutes. We don't really want to open the oven so that the heat doesn't escape, so make sure you use your oven light if you're going to be looking into your cake. So we've carefully taken our tins out of the oven. We're going to let them cool for about 5 minutes before we flip our cake. We're now going to carefully flip our cake and put it on our wire rack. As you can see, I did not butter the tin all the way correctly. However, it's still a beautiful cake. Well, our sponge cakes have finished baking. Remember, the most important parts of baking are precise measurements and our timing. I can't wait to taste your cakes in class.